All right, everyone, buckle up. If you thought you had Megabonk all figured out, you need to throw that entire playbook out the window. Patch 1.0.12 is here, and it hasn't just shifted the meta, it has completely shattered it. Let's get right into what this all means for you.
And you just gotta love this. You know it's a big one when the dev kicks things off with a note like this. Super candid, super real. It just sets the perfect tone, right? This is a patch that's clearly about listening to us, the players, and fixing what needs fixing, starting with those very, very broken leaderboards. And listen, when I say it changes everything, I am not exaggerating. This is not just a couple of numbers being tweaked here and there. Nope, we are talking about a fundamental, ground-up rework of how you even play the game. So let's dive into the absolute biggest change of them all. Okay, first on the chopping block, and this is the big one, the final swarm. That whole end-game survival test, yeah, it's been completely rebuilt from the ground up. And it's specifically designed to kill off those old, kind of boring passive strategies. And yeah, look at this. This basically shows the death of an entire playstyle we all got used to. Remember hiding in a corner, letting Black Hole do all the heavy lifting for an hour? Yeah, those days are over. The new swarm has these super aggressive ghosts that will actively hunt you down. You have to be moving, you have to be dodging, you have to actually play the end game now, because sitting still, that's a one-way ticket to a game over screen. So since the end game is totally different, it only makes sense that the items and abilities we used to get there have been shaken up too, right? This is where we say goodbye to some old favorites and hello to a brand new meta. First up, let's talk buffs. The Chaos Tome, an item a lot of us probably just ignored, just got a massive boost. A plus 50% increase to rewards. That is huge. This thing is suddenly a top-tier pick. Seriously, are you going to start running this? I think I might have to. All right, now for the other side of that coin. The XP Tome, a staple in pretty much every single build, is getting a small nerf. It's going from a 9% bonus down to 7%. Now, the dev actually said this was something the community asked for to balance out the leveling. It might seem small, just 2%, but trust me, over a 40-minute run, you're absolutely going to feel that. And here it is, the change we all knew was probably coming, right? Joe's Dagger, the undisputed king of infinite damage runs, has finally been capped. The new limit is 200% damage per minute per dagger. Look, it's still going to be really strong early and mid-game, but it won't be the automatic I win button for the late game anymore. Which, honestly, it's great. It opens up the floor for so many other damage builds to be viable. Okay, the Black Hole also got a really interesting rework. It's a bit of a give and take. On one hand, it's 20% bigger by default, which is an awesome buff for controlling crowds. But on the other hand, its ability to trigger other item effects, what we call the proc coefficient, has been lowered. So think of it this way. It's a better vacuum cleaner now, but it's not as good at setting off those chain reactions with your other gear. A really clever rebalance that changes how you use it. All right, moving on from all the meta-shifting balance stuff, this patch also brings a ton of technical and quality of life upgrades that are just mwah, the kind of things that make the game just feel so much smoother and fairer to play. So, for starters, we're getting some much-needed FPS boosts, especially when things get crazy with abilities like Dexecutioner and Black Hole. Your computer will thank you. But the real headline here: they fixed the save file corruption bug. No more losing your best run ever because the game crashed. That is a lifesaver. Oh, and hey, we get a new banger of a music track, Mega Chad's theme. And there it is, the news we have all been waiting for. The leaderboards are back, they're working, and they've been wiped clean. A fresh start for everyone. And it's not just that they're working again, they're way more secure. The big exploits people were using, patched. They've put in a global ban list for known cheaters, which is awesome. The All Leaderboards button is gone for now, but that's just because they're reworking it into something better. The bottom line is, competitive integrity is back, and that's what matters. Okay, let's get into the bug fixes. And you're going to want to listen closely here because one of these fixes isn't just a fix. It's basically a massive, secret buff that makes a bunch of old builds viable again. So, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been on a god tier run, like 40, 50 minutes in, and you start to feel like your weapons are just not working right? Like they just stop firing as often, and your whole build just feels like it hits an invisible wall? I know I have. Well, guess what? You aren't going crazy. It was a bug.
Turns out if you stacked too much duration stat on your weapons, they could literally just stop working. By putting a cap on it, the dev has fixed this. And this is huge. This is an enormous, indirect buff to any build that focuses on high duration. A whole playstyle just got unlocked again.
And just a few other quick but important fixes. Spaceman's passive now actually gives you the bonus XP it's supposed to. The black hole's hitbox isn't 10 times bigger than it should be anymore, which, yeah, that explains a lot. And the weird stacking with spiky shield is also fixed. Just good, solid cleanup for a much better experience. So the game is more balanced, it's more stable, it's more fair. So the big question is, where do we go from here? What's next for Megabonk? Well, let's take a peek at the roadmap. Okay, so short term, we're looking at some awesome quality of life stuff like settings for particle effects, thank goodness, and a map with a fog of war. But the long-term stuff? Man, this is where it gets hype. Multiplayer, it's officially on the roadmap. Plus, of course, more maps, more weapons, more characters, the whole 9 yards. The future for this game is looking absolutely awesome. So what's the bottom line here? It's simple. The meta is dead. Long live the new meta. The old playbook is useless, and it is time to get in there and experiment. A whole new universe of builds just opened up. So I want to know, what are you going to try first? Drop in the comments below. And hey, if you want to stay up to date on all things Megabonk, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. All right, now go have some fun.